Okay, one last question I'd like to ask you. Just an open-ended question. Why Softjourn? What do you think has been the best thing about working with us?
Well, this isn't the first time I've worked with Softjourn. I'm a repeat offender. And actually, people who have worked for me and worked with me have been repeat offenders since working with Softjourn through me also. And I think that there are few reasons why Softjourn and not others, because I've worked with a lot of other firms, and I've been happy with other firms too. Softjourn is certainly not the only firm that's ever made me happy, but it's definitely my go-to. And the number one reason has got to be the people and the teams that are put together. That that Softtrain is one of the only firms you can go to that when you have a team, when you stand up a team for a project, the project team truly feels like they're owners in the project. Um, the project management leads on Softtrain projects frankly, are probably more rigorous project managers than than I myself actually put on projects. Um, they're more specific, more dedicated, more focused. Are more rigorous in maintaining the inputs and outputs and being able to present them and slice and dice them properly. It's I always like to say that I run really like clean adult operations, but the truth is, by comparison, I don't. Software actually does a better job of keeping the process clean than I do. Um, but also, those teams tend to have really creative thinkers, which is a very unusual quality for an outsourced provider of technology labor. It usually the expectation is that the customer will do all the thinking, and then the outsourcer will do all the coding, as though those two things aren't one thing. Um, and Software actually takes a stance on understanding the problem and understanding how to solve the problem. And um, and there we have real debates on the best way to solve a problem and what's necessary for the scope. And everything isn't accepted out of hand as this is the right answer. There's actually enough pushback to make real business decisions on the things that we're doing, and I don't have to do that in a meeting room in advance and then tell Software what happened later. Software is actually a first class participant in making those decisions, and not in sort of a fantastical way like an Accenture, where it's oh the business consultants. No, but they're a real participant in the business, and that's something different.
Mhm.
Um, Also, Software. I mean, I don't know if Software appreciates it, but the willingness. Oh, it's funny. I've never had that turn up. I don't know if Software appreciates this, but the willingness to accept some of the more wackadoo projects that I've been interested in. I think the first project we ever did was reverse engineering a closed source, uh, closed driver device so that we could take the data stream out of the device driver blind, reprocess it, output it to PDF because the system we were building. I think this is actually our very first proof of concept was a device redirector from a device driver we didn't have the source for, reverse engineering the output to it and generating emails from the image that came out of the writes to the USB device,
Mhm.
so that we could make digital copies of it because the
All
platform just
legally
didn't know.
reverse engineered.
Yes, yes, in a completely black box
Mhm.
scenario where you worked from a completely locked device and a
Mhm.
completely blind set of inputs and outputs. Um, I don't honestly know who else would sign up for a project like that. I mean, frankly, there was no one even internally who was willing to look at that topic. Um, but the
Challenges.
funny, yeah, the funny thing was not only the project came in on budget
Mhm.
early, worked on the first try.
Mhm.
It was actually pretty surprising since the truth is most of us thought that it wouldn't work out. we actually didn't think that that project was going to succeed. And so there's a lot of, there's certainly, there's something to be said for working with a firm who has guts. And there are lots of firms who will say, you know, I'll do some chintzy web project, or you know, I'll help you build this business system. And everybody has to be able to do that, of course. But it's sort of special to have a go-to firm who says, I'd be willing to attempt this thing that we're not sure it's going to work. And it's really hard, and I'm going to have to find someone who specializes in doing something that's weird and hard. And it's even more special when I can assume that most of the time it's going to be successful. I've been routinely surprised that it's now a routine surprise that I ask for things that I'm pretty sure aren't going to work, and they end up working. I'm like, well, of course they figured out how to make that work. So that, I mean, I think that that's sort of why Softjourn. I think that there's every reason in the world to have multiple vendors, but if what you really care about is creative solutioning and the ability to do it in a timely, on budget way, Softjourn is a really good choice.
All right, well, all good words to hear and great to hear. We love the challenges of working with you guys. And thank you very much for your time. We've really enjoyed it. And thank you very much for providing some suggestions too, to some other like banks and to fintechs. That's been really valuable. Thank you.
I'm sure that will be, in my career, that'll be never ending.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much. If I can do anything else, don't hesitate to ask.